Well, you need immediate pain relief, and that is best provided unambiguously by narcotics, by opiate-based narcotics. However, when you have healed and you are no longer suffering acute pain and you have chronic long-term pain, those narcotics are no longer the answer. First of all, they make you constipated and they make you depressed. So what we're seeing in our soldiers that are coming back from these long tours of duty is chronic pain, depression, and suicides. Now, let's put one and one together and see what's going on here. Well, they have chronic pain because they've been injured. They're given narcotics, which make them depressed. They're giving antidepressants, which have the consequence of promoting suicide. Well, let's look further at cannabis-based medicines here, all right? They are antidepressant in their behavior. You know, the whole concept of getting high, euphoria, right? Well, that's what these soldiers need. They're depressed. They need an antidepressant. The natural antidepressant is your endocannabinoid system, and the natural way to supplement that is with cannabis. So these are the medicines that we're going to target first, because we know that there's such a tremendous need for them. We know that they work because our veterans tell us that they work. And we feel that it's our obligation to fight to provide this medicine for our soldiers who have done so much for our country and are now being basically screwed by our government and by our military system.
I can actually relate to exactly everything that you're saying. I've served in Iraq, and I've seen some things that I would want to forget. Thank goodness I'm safe and all that other type of stuff. But I commend you for looking out for the soldiers for sure. You threw out some terms there with the cannabinoid and those type of things, and I did some research, and this is a very deep subject. What I didn't realize is that the cannabinoid receptors in the human body were cannabinoid.
Yeah.
Were not discovered till 1990.
Right. Most of the easiest way to do a lot of kind of biochemistry and molecular biology is with water-based compounds because they dissolve in water. However, our cannabinoids, our endocannabinoids, the marijuana-like compounds that we make that bind to and activate the cannabis receptors, those are all lipid compounds. They're fats, basically. And they're very hard to study because they're not soluble in water. It was the development of modern biological techniques and instrumentation that's really kind of exploded since 1990 that has provided the foundation for the studying of these compounds. And there are literally thousands and thousands of peer-reviewed studies based on examining this, because think of it from a scientist's point of view. All of a sudden, you have this new revelation that we have this endocannabinoid system, and that it's regulating everything in your body. So the opportunities for creating new medicines based on this knowledge is astounding. Now, what's typically happening in big pharmaceutical companies is they're looking to create, and these have been created, synthetic, what's called agonists, things that stimulate the endocannabinoid system, because they can patent those synthetic chemicals, and therefore they can have money specifically from those patents. We take a different approach. We know that specific individual compounds are not as effective as the whole plant extracts. The cannabis plant, the marijuana plant, is an amazing factory for biological discovery in that there are hundreds of cannabis-like compounds that this plant produces. And while really only THC gets you high, the other compounds have biological activity. And the activity, when you read about the endocannabinoid system and the receptors, unless you really read a lot, you don't fully appreciate that it's a very, very complex system with many layers of regulation and different modes of action. And by having the diversity of these compounds in these plant extracts, you have a unique way to impact on the endocannabinoid system directly, as well as its associated biochemistry, in order to create a more holistic impact on changing biochemistry. Conventional pharmaceutical companies, they look for these magic bullets. And if you watch any TV and you look at the list of contraindications, take this medicine for your pain, but, it may kill you when you go through the list of different, side effects. And this is true of so many conventional medicines put out there by big pharmaceutical companies. Marijuana, in contrast, has been used as a medicine for thousands of years. There are no recorded deaths. There's no known lethal dose of marijuana. In other words, unlike aspirin, for example, which has what's known as a therapeutic index of 15. What that means is you take 2 aspirins. If instead of taking 2, you take 30, it can kill you, right? Obviously, with narcotics, we also have a very low therapeutic index. With cannabis, they estimate that the therapeutic index is 40,000 to 1. So if you went and smoked a couple of pounds of marijuana in a few minutes, you might have some kind of a problem. But essentially, the stuff is non-lethal. A federal judge back in 88, mentioned that this is one of the safest therapeutic substances known to man. Well, how is it that this is still illegal? See, and we are patients in most cases in our company. We're medical patients. We're cannabis patients. We live in states where medical cannabis is used, and we have issues that have justified our use of that. So we are embedded in the medical marijuana community. We know what works because there are dispensaries that are monitoring what's going on, and it's through that enhanced knowledge from personal use and being involved in the medical marijuana community that it allows us to develop the approaches that we're going to be taking for the medicines that we're choosing to target. I mean, this is a big effort. We want to go through the FDA, produce FDA-approved medicines. We have all sorts of experts coming on board to facilitate these processes of getting through what's necessary, doing what's necessary to make this. And for us, we 100% support the legalization of medical cannabis for people. That will not impact our market. See, no matter what the status of marijuana is, legal or illegal, there's a huge population base that wants to go to their doctor, get a prescription, go to the pharmacy, get an FDA-approved medicine, and have it covered by health care. That's the market we're targeting.
Now, with the cannabis science, I mean, it seems to be moving forward in 2010 by entering into licensing agreements and all of that type of stuff. Can you tell us a little bit more about from that side, from the licensing agreement piece?
Well, a lot of the stuff has not been revealed in public as of yet. So what I can tell you, because we want to make sure that we have everything signed, sealed, and delivered before we make public announcements. We're not into a lot of hype. What we have are certain, in addition to the things that I've mentioned to you, and in addition to bird flu, which is another story that we can talk about, we have a variety of other medicines that we have under development, and it's through some of these other approaches that we have unique licensing agreements coming on board, as well as the licensing agreements necessary to bring the experts on board that are going to be able to, that have the expertise in going through the FDA procedures, because it's a huge bureaucracy. Similarly, in terms of production, in terms of producing pharmaceutical-grade compounds that will allow you to get FDA approval. So we are pulling together experts in all of the required areas in order to make our company succeed. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel and have everything done in-house when there are experts out there with the experience and the knowledge to put together the requirements that we have.